You have big goals. You know exactly what you want. Maybe it's transforming your body, building a real skill, growing something from nothing, saving money, or completely overhauling your life. The vision is clear. You can picture it, but somehow, you can't start. Or you start, and it falls apart before it even gets going. And when the momentum breaks, getting it back feels almost impossible. So eventually, you say it to yourself. I guess I just don't have the willpower. I'm not the kind of person who sticks with things. My ambitions are bigger than I am. Here's the thing, that thought? That's the first thing you need to let go of. Because you might not be lazy at all. You might not be lacking anything. In fact, it could be the complete opposite. You might be stopping because you want too much. You're looking too far ahead, and you're trying to change everything all at once. The problem isn't weak willpower. The problem is how you're starting. More precisely, you've been building massive commitments. Before you take a single action, think about this for a second. There's something strange that happens when people set big goals. You open a notebook. You make a plan. You color code your calendar. You write out everything you need to do. And suddenly it feels like your life is already changing. Tonight feels different. Tomorrow feels like a new beginning. But that feeling? That's often the trap. Because the moment you made the plan, you already got a little relief. The moment you made the vow, you already felt a little proud. The moment you said it out loud, you already felt like you'd accomplished something. So when you face the actual first step, the uncomfortable, unglamorous, real world first step, you're already out of steam. The plan felt incredible. But the action feels heavy. The version of you in your head is doing amazing things. The real version of you just needs to sit down at a desk. Lace up your shoes, open a file, and type the first sentence. And right there, most people stop. Because here's what we get wrong. We don't hate effort. We hate the discomfort of starting. Big goals sound inspiring, but the actual first action is always kind of embarrassing. You want to get fit? The real action is drinking a glass of water and stretching for 3 minutes. You want to get fluent in another language? The real action is memorizing 10 words today. You want to grow something online? The real action is sitting in front of a blank screen and writing one sentence. We fall in love with the result and ignore the start. We want the outcome but delay the beginning. And then we blame ourselves. But the truth is, what's stopping you probably isn't laziness. It's the habit of making the start too heavy. Let me paint you a picture. Your alarm goes off in the morning. The night before, you made a serious commitment. You were going to get up early and work out. But the moment your eyes open, your body feels like lead. The blanket is warm. The day ahead already feels overwhelming. And this is where it gets real. That's not a character flaw. That's just being human. In that moment, your body wants comfort. Your brain hates complexity. Your mind is already exhausted just thinking about the day. And then you're asking yourself to go work out for an hour. Of course that feels impossible. The issue isn't that you don't want to exercise. The issue is that you demanded too much from yourself the second you opened your eyes. The same thing happens with studying, working, writing, anything. We wait until we're in the right headspace. We check our mood first. Do I feel focused today? Am I ready for this? And honestly, most days, the answer is no. There's almost never a perfect day. Energy goes up and down. Your mind wanders. Distractions pull at you. Starting feels like a hassle. So we keep waiting for the feeling to arrive first. But here's what actually happens in reality. Motivation doesn't come before action. It comes after. You open the book. You read one page. You solve one problem. You write 2 lines. And slowly, your brain starts to catch up. Focus isn't a gift you get before you begin. It's something that shows up, reluctantly, after you've already started. So let me ask you something directly. What do you actually need? A bigger push? A harsher wake-up call? One more powerful quote? One more massive commitment? Or do you need to make the first step small enough that your body will actually do it right now? Most people pick the first option. They chase motivation. They look for something intense enough to shock them into action. And it works, for a little while. But intensity isn't direction. It's just heat. And heat fades. What actually lasts is structure. A system that works even when you're tired. A process you can start even when you don't feel like it. A foundation that holds even when you're anxious or overwhelmed. Life doesn't change at the peak of your emotions. It changes through repeatable structure. Now, I'm not saying abandon your big goals. Keep them. You need them. A big goal tells you which direction to move, and that matters. But your big goal should be your direction, not your daily action. Direction belongs far out on the horizon. Action belongs right in front of you. Direction pulls you forward. Action moves your feet. But so many people collapse these two things together. They try to change their entire life in a single day. No wonder it breaks. You can't build a different life in 24 hours. But you can change one action today. And weirdly, that's almost always where lives actually diverge. Here's how this looks in practice. If you want to start working out, don't commit to an hour at the gym. Instead, lay your workout clothes on your bed the night before. Or just step outside and walk for 10 minutes. If you want to study, don't set a 3-hour deep focus block. Instead, open the book and read the first sentence out loud. If you want to write, don't aim for a finished draft. Instead, type a title on a blank screen. The key is this. These actions need to feel almost embarrassingly small. Because what changes a person isn't an impressive first step. It's a first step that's almost impossible to fail. A lot of people dismiss small starts. What's the point of something that tiny? But that question misses something important. We're not asking how much a single action accomplishes. We're asking whether it leads to the next one. Drinking a glass of water in the morning might seem like nothing. But it wakes your body up. And once you're up, you wash your face. Once you've done that, you're slightly more likely to sit down. Once you're sitting, you write one line. One line becomes a paragraph. Life shifts more often through that kind of chain reaction than through any single dramatic leap. A tiny action matters not because it's big, but because it opens the door to the next one. And here's another thing to watch out for. When you shrink an action down, your brain will try to talk you out of it. This doesn't count. This isn't real effort. At minimum, I should be doing more than this. That voice? That's perfectionism. And perfectionism likes to disguise itself as high standards. But most of the time, it's just a sneaky form of pride. That keeps you from starting. We want to do it impressively. So we end up doing nothing. That's why sometimes you need to make a quiet decision inside yourself. Today, I'm not trying to be someone who does it perfectly. I'm just trying to be someone who does it. Here's something people get wrong about consistency. When you see someone who shows up every day, it's easy to think they're just built differently. That they were born with more discipline, more grit, more of whatever it takes. But look closer. Consistent people aren't people without bad days. They might actually have more bad days than average. The difference is they don't negotiate with how they feel. They don't use their mood as a deciding vote. Even on days when motivation is completely gone, they still do the minimum. And because of that, tomorrow's version of them can trust today's version of them. Consistency, when you really think about it, isn't a skill. It's a form of self-trust. It comes down to one question. How much do you actually trust yourself? And here's the honest truth. Most people don't trust themselves very much. Because they've broken their own promises too many times. I'll start tomorrow. They didn't. This time is for real. It wasn't. I'm doing it today. They didn't. Every broken promise is a small withdrawal from the one account that matters most. Your trust in yourself. And over time, that adds up. Even when everything looks fine on the outside, something inside starts to say, you're going to bail again. This won't stick. You already know how this ends. That weight makes life feel heavy in a way that's hard to explain. So the real power of a small action isn't the result it produces. It's the experience of keeping a promise to yourself. Rebuilding that, one tiny kept promise at a time. That's what starts to lift the weight. So when everything on your to-do list feels like too much, don't try to organize all of it. Just pick one thing, and then make that one thing smaller. Need to write a report? Don't aim to finish it. Just write the first sentence of the first paragraph. Need to work out? Don't do an hour. Do 5 minutes of movement. Need to clean your space? Don't tackle the whole place. Clear one corner of your desk. The goal here isn't speed. It's reducing friction. People don't procrastinate on things they can't do. They procrastinate on things that feel like too much hassle right now. So before you think about doing more, think about making the start feel less like a barrier. And once you've made the start small, don't leave the timing vague. Because here's the thing about vague timing. I'll study tonight. I'll work out when I have time. I'll write when things slow down. Those aren't plans. They're wishes. The vaguer the timing, the less likely it happens. But when you attach an action to a specific moment in your day, something changes. Right after dinner, once I rinse my cup, I'll sit at my desk. Before my shower, I'll do 10 push-ups. While my coffee brews in the morning, I'll write 3 lines. When you anchor your action to a scene in your day, momentum starts to form naturally. Life responds better to specific moments than to abstract intentions. Now, here's something most people miss. We dream about major achievements. But we consistently underestimate ordinary days. Life isn't built from a handful of extraordinary moments. It's built from the quiet repetition of regular ones. There's no perfect day coming to rescue you. What keeps coming is the slightly tired, slightly uninspired, kind of ambiguous day. And your life gets decided on those days. So the question isn't how much you do when you're on fire. It's how much you protect on the blurry days. Anybody can show up when they're motivated. The real difference is what happens on the gray days. The person who keeps going. Even just a little, even on the days that feel like nothing. That person is the one who ends up somewhere different. Here's something else we do that quietly works against us. We constantly overestimate our future selves. We tell ourselves that next week's version of us will be sharper, more focused, more ready. Next month, we'll have more energy, more clarity, more space. But that version of you almost never shows up. Because your future self will arrive with mostly the same body, mostly the same habits, and mostly the same tendencies as today. They'll be tired sometimes, distracted sometimes, low energy sometimes. So stop outsourcing your hope to a future you that probably isn't coming. The you that exists right now, today, is the one who has to move. Not tomorrow's hero, today's regular, ordinary, imperfect person. And I want to be honest with you about something. People want to change their lives. And also avoid the discomfort that comes with changing. That's not a character flaw. That's just what it is to be human. We like what's familiar. We fear what's uncertain. We don't want to let go of what feels comfortable right now. So real self-discipline isn't about hating yourself into action. It's about understanding where you keep tripping, and designing around it. The person who understands their own patterns goes further than the person who just pushes harder. Real change doesn't come from self-punishment. It comes from self-understanding and smart design. Not forcing yourself. Getting to know yourself well enough to work with who you actually are. That's the mature version of this. And this goes deeper than productivity. This isn't just about getting more done. At some point, every person has a moment where they realize that time moves faster than they expected. Months disappear. Years go by in a blur. And we keep treating tomorrow like a spacious storage unit. We assume it can hold everything we're putting off today. But tomorrow isn't that spacious. Postponed time doesn't pile up. It just disappears. So a small action isn't just a habit-building technique. It's a quiet way of refusing to let your time slip away unnoticed. One small step today is a low-key declaration. I'm not going to waste this. I don't think a person turns their life around at some big, triumphant moment. I think it happens in a private moment. When no one is watching. When you're tired, but you do the thing anyway. When you're not feeling it, but you don't skip the small start. When you choose the action that actually moves you. Not the plan that just impresses you. That's when a person quietly becomes the author of their own life. Human dignity doesn't only come from great achievements. It comes from not treating your own quiet commitments as disposable. It's easy to talk about big dreams. It's hard to show up for the boring, small, daily version of those dreams. And that's exactly why real growth shows up in the small repetitions. Not in the grand declarations. Because those small repetitions, that's the most honest thing a person can say about how seriously they take their own time. So please, stop demanding so much from yourself all at once. You don't need to become a completely different person by tomorrow. You just need to lower one barrier today. If it's working out, just get up. If it's studying, just open the book. If it's writing, just put down the first sentence. That's enough. Don't dismiss it for being small. That's literally how life moves. You don't wait until you feel motivated. You shrink the action until you can do it without motivation. Then you tie it to a specific moment in your day. Then you decide in advance when you're done, so you don't burn out. Don't try to do it all. Do just enough to come back tomorrow. Because this isn't about winning once. It's about not breaking the chain. At first, it might feel almost embarrassing. You might think, this can't possibly be enough to change anything. But one day you'll look back and notice. You don't freeze in front of a start anymore. When something needs doing, you don't panic. You just look for the smallest first step. When you're not feeling it, you don't quit. You do what doesn't require feeling anything. And that's where the shift happens. Because what changes a person isn't one intense moment of resolve. It's the daily experience of not betraying yourself. Today, you probably won't be perfect. You might lose momentum somewhere. You might do less than you planned. Some days you genuinely won't want to do anything at all. That's okay. What matters is that you don't let that be the end. You don't have to do a lot. You just can't let the thread break. Keep the thread. Today's version of you might be tired. But today's version of you can still leave one action behind. And that one action will be there waiting for tomorrow's version of you. What you need isn't a harder mindset. It's not a bigger commitment. It's the wisdom to make the start small enough that the real you, right now, can actually move. Start from there. Very small, but unbroken. Just that. And with just that, you've already done something. Most people never manage their whole lives. You started.